Hey, hello everyone. This is what this is. Still ThatCrypto, and here's Dennis and Rat, and we are talking about Bitcoin as usual, and cybersecurity, privacy, and everything that's related. Yeah, and we have a background. This is a pretty cool visualization of transactions. So there is Bitcoin transactions with a bunch of people here, and this is Ethereum. Lots of transactions going on.
Worth to mention, it's
I find it's kind of pretty cool way of visualizing of transactions. Each person here is a transaction. The buses blocks, like the future blocks, what they say, and different houses like those ones and this ones. There are different types of transactions, and in Ethereum we see the unicorns is probably, that's a Uniswap.
Yeah, that's the one.
And we also see like the MakerDAO, Tether, Kyber, Chainlink, and so on and so on. I don't know. I find it interesting. Pretty cool stuff.
That's actually indeed perfect visualization. Though, I have a question to you. So many times we are talking about money and what it's about, why people use it. And I recall once you mentioned something, money, or yeah, talking about Bitcoin probably, as a voting system. Could you elaborate on that?
Voting. Well, yeah, that's. I'll answer this question. Just a couple of news, and
Sure.
even one. The last week we talked about corporations buying or converting their
Assets into-
reserves, like cash, into Bitcoin.
Mhm.
So the first
Yeah.
one was MicroStrategy, and they bought $250 million dollars worth of Bitcoin. And this week, or maybe last week, a few days ago, they actually announced they doubled down actually. So right now, and let me check. Yeah, it's right here. So they bought more Bitcoin, and right now they're holding 38,000 Bitcoins.
That sound. It's indeed sounds, you know.
Yeah, that's a bold move. This is a publicly traded company, and it was pretty difficult to actually convert cash into Bitcoin. I listened to the interview of Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
Today, so it was actually interesting what the process was of how you as a CEO of a publicly traded company would buy this kind of thing. So he explained it actually took them several months, like almost half a year,
Yeah.
to educate the shareholders and all the parties involved, and interestingly, like $425 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to buy Bitcoin, you'll move the price
Absolutely.
heavily. So what they were doing, they were buying in small chunks, so in small pieces, and it took them a lot of time to accumulate all the Bitcoin. And the Michael said they never moved the price by a lot. So they were buying at market prices, and he didn't give a lot of details, but this is the idea. So it wasn't one chunk over the counter. So it's like small pieces, and the logic behind it was that they are a software company.
Yeah.
And because of the COVID, they actually became more efficient, because they cut down the costs for travel, for
The office space, I would assume.
office space, and all the stuff. So that they were providing the same services, and actually people need more services, the software services, because everyone's working from home, everyone is more reliant on software. So their business is doing really good. So they have a lot of cash, and they were just like something like $500 million of cash. They were thinking like where to put the cash so that it doesn't evaporate, and there are no traditional ways of using the
Save
cash,
them.
like investing cash right now.
Yeah.
So this is why they decided to keep it in Bitcoin, and we also saw a couple of Canadian companies. One is the restaurant chain. They also converted the reserves, cash reserves, into Bitcoin, and another one was the IT company from Ottawa. However, I don't really know what's the size of. Obviously, not $500 million, but still. So we see right now companies look at Bitcoin
As an asset.
as something solid,
Yeah.
actually. So
And those are not like random dudes just on the streets, right? Those are the people that has a responsibility against shareholders and against the company itself. So it's
this is exactly what he said. So right now they have the responsibilities to actually explain what they're doing,
yeah.
and to at least to preserve the value of their assets. Okay, back to your question. Money is a voting system.
Yeah.
I like the thinking in the first principles. However, like when do those first principles start? Where do you say, okay, this is the beginning of the first principles? But how about what was before that? And you can continue asking questions, and I think you cannot go beyond the Big Bang. Well, according to our understanding, this is the beginning of everything. That maybe when we talk about money, we don't want to go back
As
to
far.
the Big Bang. Well, the next turning point was the beginning of life. Well, this is how I understand, and I was actually looking from that point, like what is actually happening. The life has basically one principle: the survival of the fittest.
True.
So the life needs to survive, and only the best or the fittest at that moment version of that life propagates, and the genes continue into the future. And then I looked at the chimps, and when hominids branched off, and probably in the form of Australopithecus, and the difference between chimps and Australopithecus was that chimps don't really cooperate. It's all based on competition.
I mean, yeah, we know they're living in groups. There's certain limit of natural cooperation that's happening between them. I guess you mean cooperation on a higher level, more, let's call it intellectual.
Yeah, and more complex cooperation. Yes, so there are a lot of animals that cooperated to a certain degree. I don't know if you can look at the ants, you can look at bees, but even if you look at chimps, sometimes they cooperate when they hunt, but it's very primitive cooperation, just to surround the monkeys, hunt them, and then split the meat, whatever they got from the hunt. However, hominids like Australopithecus at that moment, and then whatever we had, Homo erectus and us as Homo sapiens, we mastered this cooperation thing. So at some point we realized that we need to compete, because the principle of life is survival of the fittest. So you have to compete to figure out who is the fittest actually.
Yeah.
However, if you look at cooperation, so you might realize that cooperation allows you to grow the pie that you can split by competing after that. And cooperation requires I think it's three. It needs three principles. First of all, you need to define the goal, what you want to achieve as a group, and then you need to define the rules, how you're going to achieve that, and how you're going to divide the
Split
pie,
that, yeah.
like whatever's if it's a hunt or you build a house or well, whatever the project is. So you just need to set the rules. Okay, we work on this, we hunt together, and then this is the way we're going to split the profits. And the last thing, it requires trust.
Yeah.
So you need to know that everyone in the group will follow the rules of cooperation, because everyone is incentivized to compete, to kind of cheat the system and get a bigger piece. However, in this particular scenario, the competition would be a short-term thinking. Cooperation is a long-term thinking. You think how we're gonna grow the pie, so at some point in the future we can divide it into pieces according to our rules of cooperation.
I mean, we all know there are traitors, we all know there are frauds, and meantime, as we can see all around us, the whole civilization is built on the principles of cooperation. Hence, we as a human develop certain mechanism to make sure that our cooperation is agreed on what we agreed upon.
The civilization is not built only on the principles of
true.
cooperation. So the cooperation allowed us to grow and to become the dominant species on the planet, and we see the results right now. And this is because we learned how to cooperate. However, there is competition everywhere, and the ideal situation is when we have the rules. You can even look like at a simple like hockey game, for example. The people there are competing, but they're competing within a certain rules. There are rules of the game, and within those rules you can compete as you want. And also, even within those rules, you have a team that you cooperate together. And so the cooperation and competition. Competition is required for the survival. That's the idea of the survival of the fittest. So you need to figure out who is the fittest there. However, the cooperation allows to grow the pie and what we can compete for.
Now we come humanity actually came with a certain idea of using money for that purpose.
Yeah, so
it's not obvious idea though. So let's elaborate.
We need to make a couple of steps. So the first groups of Australopithecus that were small, probably 20, 50, 100, so they lived together, and let's say they were hunted by lots of animals, the predators, lions or whatever was around, but let's say it was a lion. So lion can easily kill a monkey.
Brutal reality.
It's pretty simple. However, if 50 of those monkeys, they get together, they grab stones and they start throwing stones at a lion. All together. That's important. So the lion doesn't have a chance. So and this is the idea. Let's say the goal of the project is to kill a lion. So first of all, make the space safer. There are no predators around, and then there's meat, so everyone can be fed from a lion. So the rules are, well, first we set the goal. We're gonna kill a lion. Then the rules are 50 of us, all of us, like let's say 50. We stay together and we start throwing stones, but it's very important that everyone stays. And 50 of the monkeys, they can kill a lion if they follow the rule. When it's dead, we can continue to follow our rules. We can split the meat according to what we agreed before. And that at that moment, trust is very important, because if 25 of the monkeys decide to run away because they got scared, so they start running, then 25 is not enough to kill a lion. So the lion can kill the first 25
and the second,
then catch the second group and kill them all. So it's clearly seen that when we act within the cooperation as a group, we can achieve much more. And you don't really need to go far. You just look around and you see what we've built.
Yeah.
So if the group is small, 50 or 100 monkeys, it's easy to get everyone together to discuss the potential goal, to vote for the goal, like just to say, to I don't know, raise your hand and to come up to some sort of agreement. However, when the group is growing beyond that number, when it's thousands of people,
Yeah.
millions of people, and they all live in different groups, so how do we cooperate? That's the question. How do we make proposals? How we vote for them? So language is important in this. If you can communicate, that makes things easier. But then I thought of money as something that you can vote for. Vote with, not for. So, for example, let's say we live in several million people in the city, and you want to change the world around you in a certain way. So every goal is basically how you want to see the world around you differently than it is right now. So you want to improve. That's the entire idea of life. So you improve the world, it's easier to survive. So you improve the chances of survival. So you have an idea, you want to improve the world in a certain way. Let's say you want to build a bakery. So you just want to have, you think that there should be a bakery around the corner because there are no bakeries around there, or you want to build a special bread, or produce special bread, and this is, you have this idea. So who you're going to talk with? There are millions of people around, and the beauty of this thing, you don't have to. You can start doing what you're doing. This is basically your proposal, your voice. You can rent a place and start the bakery. And people around you, they don't even know you, but they can start voting if they support this change in the world or they don't.
Yeah.
So if they don't buy bread, so there are no votes. So they don't bring this piece of paper, which we call money. It doesn't have to be paper, but digital. But this is how they
vote for it.
Yeah, they voice their opinion. So and this is a real voice. This is not a survey on the street, which we know, like when people are asked, like, would you buy this thing? Yeah, so when people ask, would you buy the thing? Sometimes they say yes, but when they are asked to pay money for it, most of them change their mind. So with people coming to your shop and they give you money, they vote for, they actually confirm, okay, this is a good thing.
Beautiful.
We like how you change the world, we support it, continue, and then you might even consider to build a couple more shops, because this is actually what people want to see in the world.
And even more, their voice is pretty loud, because the voice might be, yeah, it's not bad, stay there with a few money, or we are doing pretty well, yeah, keep going. Or it might be like, hey dude, just build another 5 around. So yeah, it's pretty flexible.
What's actually good about money? When you have 1,000 of people, how do you distribute the voices? Like one person, one vote?
Yeah.
Well, it can be. It's a proposal to think about. However, the people have different levels of education, understanding of the world, and expertise. Well, bakery is pretty simple, but let's say it's a nuclear plant.
Yeah.
Can everyone vote for the nuclear plant if most of people don't have actually any understanding of what it means to have a nuclear plant around. Is it good? Is it bad?
What's an outcome? What trouble you might
what,
have?
what are the risks? So maybe in this situation you want to have opinions of experts, people who actually understand what they do. And the money has this interesting thing that people that have more money, they have it for a reason. Let's just drop for a second the reason that they inherited the money or they got it from somewhere illicit. Normally you get paid if you produce something in the world that people like.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So, and if you produce the thing that people like, that means that you understand how the world operates. Well, at least maybe not perfectly, but more
So
than
strong idea.
more than everyone else. So you built a bakery here. No one tried it. No one thought about it. You kind of build a model of the world how it should work with the bakery, and
It worked.
it turned out to be truth. So you have a better understanding of how the world functions. So that's why people vote. People bring you money, give their votes to you, which makes you an expert. And because you have now you have more money, you can vote for other things from the point of expertise that you understand how the world works. The problem here is that every vote should be valid. So
Yeah.
and it's very easy to understand when you look at the presidential votes, whatever's happening right now in the USA, and everyone is freaking out that there can be frauds during the process. Is it safe to vote by mail, or is it safe to vote digitally online? And so we care a lot about the authenticity of the voting process when it comes to presidents or parliament or any other official thing. However, with money, we vote every day.
Second, yeah.
Every day on different questions, different problems. We vote. We bring our ideas and our votes to the business.
We vote for internet provider. We vote for almost every single time.
However, the interesting part that no one discusses if those votes, everyday votes, are authentic or they're rigged. No one discusses this. So, but what does it mean to have this kind of vote rigged? And then I thought, your vote, as I already told you, if you understand how the world operates and people bring you money, equal votes, they confirm your authority or expertise in this particular field. So your thoughts on at least in related field should have more weight in the overall process. And because you have more money, you can pay for something. So you can pay more, and your voice would have more weight in overall condition. So in this particular scenario, you get the money or your voting power legitimately through your work, through your expertise, and basically through your work. The money should come into existence through work.
We are not talking about the situation when certain authority just printed out another huge amount of money, right?
Yeah, and actually this is the point I'm trying to
connect
to connect to. So then let's imagine that there's someone who can create many votes.
Yeah.
Millions of votes, and they vote for something that people don't really agree. Yeah, so they don't really want it. if it happens during the presidential elections, there will be a huge scandal.
Yeah.
People will discuss this, there will be protests and
Riots
all
and
sort of
everything.
things. However, when it happens in everyday life,
We are kind of.
no one says anything. Maybe because it's very abstracted away from understanding. But if you follow the system, you can see that if you create fake votes and you vote for something that no one agreed upon,
What you do with the world around you.
it's the same thing as the fraud during the election. So there's a new president that people didn't vote for, and he would make the decisions that no one approved of. So and this is my idea of money as a voting system. It's first of all, we vote every day on millions of different problems. Second, it defines the expert, because experts collect more votes in the form of money, because what they propose, how they change the world, people like.
Yeah, it's a solid voice of the person. It's not fake.
So, but this only works in the system where the money is authentic, the money that's created through work, and the work would be a positive change in the world that actually people approve of. When we have, it's almost time. Yeah, I'm almost done. So when we have millions of fraudulent votes, we actually end up in the world that we didn't vote for, didn't agree. However, because the society is very complex, we have hundreds of millions of people, 8 billion people, and it's very difficult to realize that this is something you didn't vote for, because you think, yeah, maybe another million vote for, we are all different. And this allows for this fraud in the system to propagate for a long time. However, there is some tipping points when a lot of people realize that, wow, this is something that we don't like. We never voted for this thing, and this is what actually we see right now. We see protests almost in every country, and maybe people don't even understand what exactly is happening.
But they feel, for sure,
they feel that they're unsatisfied with the present condition. And talking about Bitcoin is something that can be forged, it can be faked. There can be no fraud with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And the interesting actually thing that Bitcoin has the proof of work.
Exactly.
Because money should be created through work. Actually, in my scenario, it's a different type of work. However, it just happened that Bitcoin has this thing, and we can verify or validate that there was work.
Is indeed work done for that Bitcoin or not?
The work was done to create this money, and this vote, this voice is actually valid.
Yeah.
With the fiat money, there is no proof.
Yeah.
And we know it's created. It's forged, and it's used to change the world in a way that
nobody even want.
Yeah, most people. Well, maybe someone wants, but people didn't vote for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my idea as the money, about the money as a voting system.
Actually, yes, that's very good observation of money, and particularly Bitcoin from that perspective. I guess it can be used, and I'm sure it's gonna be used. We're kind of close for our time.
Yeah, so the Bitcoin represents the truth in the world. So you can't insert the lies or the fraud into the voting system, which people use to vote on how they want to see the world around them.
I wanna add that it's not like philosophical assumption. It's technology behind it. It's mathematics that prove it.
Well, it's both.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's philosophy. What is money? So we don't really think what money is, and there are lots of theories where it comes from. But actually, I looked even further from the beginning of life and how we evolved. So and it fits there pretty neatly.
Cool.
Yeah. So should we wrap up?
I guess so. Yeah. And let's go for our next topics further.
Yeah. So the Bitcoin is the best money created. So and you need to pay attention how you handle it, how you store it,
Yeah.
because it's impossible to forge or to create fake bitcoins. It's very important you keep
what you got.
you keep your votes that you have, and that's something that we don't really pay attention to.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, I guess it's it was a very philosophical kind of topic today, but
We should touch philosophical questions as well, because all of technology also connects with
I
that.
think it's important to understand actually what money is, to define
Why we do what we do.
what is the best money.
Yeah.
Is why is MMT, like modern monetary theory, is not, it's not going to work because it's against the principles of life and evolution.
And it's not our assumption. Again, we can just look on the street, see that society is it's not so stable as we want to have it. Cool. Thank you.
All right, Albert, thanks for your question. That's
Thanks everybody.
pleasure, and see you next week.
Sure.
Same place, same time.
Yep.